Well, Saturday night, Saturday morning, or Saturday afternoon, wherever you are in the world, the IndyCar Grand Prix of Indianapolis, or the GMR Grand Prix, took place at the iconic Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And the winner was Colton Herta. But it wasn't just any win for Colton Herta. It was a very important win, a win that gave him a lot of points. But the main talking point from that race was just how well he performed in that race. Colton Herta is one of those stars that you think has got all that talent that a driver needs to make it to Formula One. And he has. Not, I think, but he definitely has that talent. And leading for 50 laps and also keeping it together in the wet conditions as others struggled is just incredible. Colton Herta is like from another planet, and I think the guy is like only in his early 20s, 21, 2, 3 or 4, somewhere there. Not quite sure. I think I've just forgotten. But he did incredible. And the thing is that he won the GMR Grand Prix from 14th on the grid. Sounds all too familiar because he started 14th on the grid, won in a wet race. F1 fans, where have we seen that before? But that is just extraordinary talent from an extraordinary driver. I mean, it's just incredible how he came from 14th and passed multiple cars. At some point, he was at the back and then came through to the front, battling with the likes of Will Ward and Will Power, who was on pole position. And, others struggled. The two Arrow McLaren SP drivers made contact. It was very unfortunate for both of them. It was just a racing incident. But this is just motorsport, it's just racing, to be honest, and IndyCar is like this. IndyCar always produces some good races. Not always, but they do tend to produce some good races. I've watched some very nice races in IndyCar over the last few months. From the first time I started watching it back in 2021. I only started last year. I only became a big time fan of IndyCar last year. And it was a shame for Ward. He was leading the race for some time until that incident, or where the rain just came falling down. It started raining cats and dogs and whatever. And others struggled. Others crashed. Some spun on the grass. Some spun on the track because of curbs. It was just chaos, and it was a very weird race because there was the main straight at Indy, which was completely wet, and then there was like just after a few corners on the back straight, a few corners after the back straight, it was bone dry, and then coming onto the banking again, it started becoming wet. It was a very confusing one, and then the final corner, or the penultimate corner, was dry as well. So strategy was critical in that race, very, very critical. And others stayed out on the slicks, or the dries rather, in IndyCar, and some struggled. Grosjean and O'Ward stayed out on slicks while it was raining heavily, and they thought it was too late to go in for wet tires, but eventually they both did and dropped to the far back. And there was nothing much they could do unless they wanted to do what Lando did in Russia 2021. And oh dear, I shouldn't have reminded people of that, because it was almost the same. Why does it always happen to a McLaren? Getting the strategy wrong, always staying out with slicks in the wet, while everyone else is on wet tires and it's raining. It always happens to a McLaren driver. That's so unfair. It is very unfair. But I think O'Ward should have won the race. But Colton Herta, looking at his performance, he did deserve to win that race. We can't take it away from him. He deserved that race 100%. And not many of us like drifting, but this save was incredible. I don't know how Colton Herta did that, but that was the definition of speedway style at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. If it doesn't make sense, then I don't know. But that was just an incredible drift. I don't know how he saved that, because, I've seen a lot of incredible drifts, especially if you're a Max Verstappen. But definitely Colton Herta did well in that race, and such performances show that he may be ready for Formula One. We don't know when he could get into Formula One, but I think it might be very soon. Probably in the next 2 or 3 years, he might be in the pinnacle of motorsport. I mean, Colton Herta is a man on a mission. He's got a number of race wins, I think. He's won in his hometown about 4 or 3 times, I don't know. But he's one driver that deserves to make it to Formula One. I know there are others like Pato O'Ward that definitely needs to go to F1 as well. There's maybe Joseph Newgarden. Maybe he deserves a shot in F1, considering the fact he's still young and is a 2-time IndyCar champion. Well, there are lots of drivers with talent, and then there are those drivers that went into F1, failed, and are now in IndyCar excelling. Marcus Ericsson. But Herta deserves to be in the top flight of motorsport, and I definitely think so. And well, he may be driving for McLaren in the future. We don't know, because there's also Andretti trying to make it to Formula One, and I really hope Andretti Autosport make it to Formula One, the 11th team on the grid. Sounds all too familiar from F1 2020. And I feel like Colton Herta and Andretti Autosport should come to F1. And Herta should be the next American driver in the sport. I tend to keep these videos quite short or quite long sometimes. But thank you guys so much for watching. And if you did enjoy this video, please remember to smash that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments about that crazy race on Saturday night or afternoon or morning or Sunday morning, or wherever you were, whatever time it was you're watching that race. And be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn notifications, and from me, Octave F1, is goodbye.